Good evening, everybody. This is Cap'n Tinsley, Salty Abandon, with another Salty podcast where it's always a great day to talk about sailing. And this is episode 21. And we have a special guest on tonight for episode 21. It is Leslie Allen of the Island Packet Yacht Factory. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her out. Good evening, Leslie.
Hi.
How are you? Are you ready for this?
I don't know, but I'm going to try.
We always make it easy for all of the guests on the Salty podcast. So I think you're going to have it's going to go real smoothly. We're just going to have a good time.
Yeah.
All right. So you are Leslie Allen, and you and your husband, Daryl, bought the factory how many years ago?
It's 7 years ago.
7 years ago. So that was 2017?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So before I ask you the first question, I do have some questions here. Tell us where you were before the factory.
Before we bought the company. So I was in another realm. I did construction defect litigation for an insurance company, blah, blah, blah. And Daryl said, quit your job, help me run the dealership. And we did. And we were kind of thinking about retiring. And
But you owned a boat brokerage?
Yeah. Daryl had owned Sun
in California. Okay.
California for 30 years. And then and we had bought a motor sailor, and we were gonna kind of, he was gonna retire, me not as much, and then buy a boat company.
Okay, so that brings me to the first question. Okay, so you were in California, but you didn't originate there. You're a Texas gal, right?
I'm a Texas gal, and ironically, Daryl's a Texas guy. He started his boat company in Kima, or his boat career in Kima, Texas.
Texas.
Yeah. So he started there, and I grew up in Texas, went to A&M. He went to UT schools, but anyway, we didn't meet until we were in California. But yeah, he started his full boat career in Texas.
And I think you were telling me that you went to California because of a guy.
Yeah.
But you had to go to California to meet your Texas guy.
Yeah, I joked that I met the California guy, and I moved to California and then ended up with the Texan. So yeah, I had to go to California to get my Texan.
It's hard to believe that you were living in California from Texas. Okay. So that's another topic. But okay, so my first question is, what motivated you to transition from owning a yacht brokerage to acquiring Island Packet Yachts? And we're from one side of the country to another.
Well, I'm going to quote my dad: God always protects the lame and the ignorant. Daryl was very passionate about Island Packet. And so vis-a-vis him, I was too. And our owner, Daryl was one of the best new boat Island Packet salesperson in the country. And everything started to kind of shut down, and we couldn't get a hold of anyone, and it started to get really weird. Pardon?
At the factory?
Yeah. So it started, we were both like, oh my gosh, this is awful. So we kept trying to contact who we thought were the owners. And then one day, I was sitting at my desk, he was sitting at his, and we got a call finally from the owners of Island Packet at the time, and they owned Island Packet and Seaward. And she said, "Are you interested in buying Island Packet?" And
wow.
We both looked at each other, like what?
Out of the blue?
And so there you go. And God took over from there.
They were just calling around different people thinking, who can we
No,
get?
we kept calling and saying, what's going on? What's going on?
Right.
And yeah, and so we drove to Florida on a wing. After they said that, we drove there on a wing and a prayer. Like literally, it was a crazy. You guys wouldn't even believe the story.
Well,
it was God.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so you decided. Okay. So what you told me before is that you guys were upgrading boats after the fact. When people would buy from the Island Packet factory, people would have to upgrade their boats, right? Because can only so much can be done or customized. And so you thought maybe it was a good idea to change that. So my next question is, can you talk about some of the aspects of how you modernized and transformed the boat buying experience?
So when we decided to buy Island Packet, we, in not casting any aspersions towards the prior ownership or anything like that, but from a marketing standpoint, we kind of saw that, Island Packet's biggest competitor was used Island Packets. So
yeah.
When we bought the company, we had 12 employees, 0 boat orders. And and we were selling used Island Packets back in San Diego, no problem. So we knew right away we had to give people a reason to buy a new boat. And so that was immediately our thought process. And so we wanted to kind of figure out how we could take what worked, but then build upon it and give people a reason to buy new, because otherwise it wasn't going to work. Wasn't going to happen.
Okay. Yeah, that makes total sense. So my next question is, how did you integrate customization options into the process for buyers? I mean, that must have been tough.
It was, like I said, bought the company, 12 employees, no boat orders, right? And I'll tell you, this was an kind of an epic moment for Daryl and I. We, at the time, the big thing was these open epic transoms, right? That were you could access, you could entertain, that kind of thing. And pretty quickly we learned, are you going to be true to safety? Are you gonna, who do you want to be? And we immediately realized we can't do, we tried to look at an option for the fold down transom, for anything like that. And there was no way to do it and ensure safety, which was one of the things that we felt was so key about Island Packet. So then we immediately started to design a transom that was safe, but that was more user-friendly and that kind of thing. So that kind of got us started towards, all right, let's keep what's right, and then let's keep the options going.
I'm going to pull one up so we can see what you're talking about. So that's the new transom, right?
Yeah, and it's so great. And I don't know if you can see, but like there's handholds. It's super safe. But the fold down transom, it can't be as safe. So this was an iteration that you can't see, but you can pull up and walk up, and it keeps really true to our value of safety.
Okay.
And it's more accessible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm kind of envious. I've got transom envy right now. I
Yeah.
have a scoop. I have a 320, so I do have a scoop,
And
but
that's
it's not
not
like
it.
that.
Right. It's the scoop. And then we kind of took it from there saying, okay, again, let's stay true to our values, but let's
I
keep
like that.
moving with what can we do. And we also, one of the things I'd like to attribute to our team, we said to everyone, what's something you couldn't do in building the boats that you wanted to do? What's a
Oh, yeah.
suggestion that you had?
Perfect to ask them. Yeah.
And they stepped up. They stepped up. And so,
What about the whole side ports? You want to talk about those?
uh,
These are the below the
yeah,
it's on the
well,
hull.
yeah, that was so easy, but so controversial. I mean,
I
not,
That's what I thought you would come across a lot of that, I'm
yeah,
sure.
it was funny because I think I'm kind of claustrophobic. So, but yeah, it was super easy. And the thing is too that as we've developed these different kind of options, they don't have to do that. We can build it without those. But I think we
I
built.
assume that they don't open. You just told me about this. I just noticed it today when you were pointing them out. You don't open them, right?
No, and they, everything we do, we use the best materials that we can build or buy. So they are so solid and they're literally amazing. And but it's so nice, to have that light, to have that sight line. It's great.
Sure.
Love it. And if you don't
Yeah.
want them, you don't have to have them.
Well, you had mentioned in that email, that video that you put out a couple years ago, that okay, you just said 12 employees, and then you grew to like 30 or something or more, and you said a lot of people came back.
Yeah, that was very humbling. It
Did
was
any of
really,
them push back on changes,
oh
or were
yeah,
they like, "Oh no, let's do it"?
oh
Did
no,
some of them push back? Yeah,
they did, but in a positive way.
they were respectful.
Yeah, it was a weird corporate culture that as more people came back, and but it was humbling to have that institutional knowledge.
Yeah, yeah,
And so I think that as long as we made everyone feel empowered and like we weren't ignoring them or we weren't trying to, tell them what they did was wrong. We tried to make everyone feel like just tell us what you know
right.
and tell us.
Why do you think they came back?
Well, I think the word on the street became that, Daryl and I were really interested in,
Bringing things back
yeah,
to the
and
former glory and beyond.
yeah, and Daryl and I are very different in terms of owning a boat company. Like we, you know, we weren't, we just really wanted to develop a new culture and we wanted to, we just loved Island Packet. So we didn't have an ego about where we wanted to take it or,
You
so
were open.
yeah, I think as more and more employees came about and came back, I think everyone started to go like, because the employees who had worked there before, they loved Island Packet. It's a unique thing. I mean, it was a family, granted, like any family, it wasn't always a healthy family, but
Right.
no, it was you know, they loved Island Packet and they believed
I
in
love that.
and so it was really cool. It was very humbling as so many people came back. And literally we went from 13 employees and then we had so many employees in our average years of employment went to like 50 years. I mean, it was crazy.
Wow.
The old
All right,
guard came back.
Look who's here. Look at the bottom of your screen.
Who's
Melanie Neal.
Mel!
She says, how do you feel about being a high-powered woman in an industry full of guys? All right. Good question, Melanie. Thank you for that question, Melanie.
Well, people like Melanie and you give me support. No, no, it's humbling. I don't think I'm grateful for the women in the sailing industry who have been so kind to me because I don't I'll never be as good a sailor as Melanie or many people. So
it'll be fun learning.
Yeah, I've got the kindness of a lot of women. And yeah. And I think for me, the biggest thing is just saying what I don't know and not pretending to know more than I do know. And
you know a lot. You know a lot.
But it's humbling. The people who own Island Packets are such badass sailors, male, female, whatever. And I am kind of like,
it's a very loyal club. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so with this, the challenges that you came across as you were implementing changes, and how did you overcome them? You kind of answered that, but is there more to it, or is that did you feel like you answered that?
No, I think there's a lot to that. So pretty quickly we decided we were going to call it the next generation of Island Packet, right? So we wanted to, for me, from a marketing standpoint, I wanted everyone, and Daryl and I wanted everyone to know that we didn't want to, just throw away everything. We wanted to keep the underbody, right? We wanted to keep the safety features, but we wanted to take it into the next generation. And I think we did a really good job of that. And that's like the 349 got boat of the year, 439 boat of the year. And so I think we've done a really good job of staying true, to the basic number one thing, which is safety. Yeah.
Look at that boat. That's the 349. I think I'm in love, Leslie.
Well, and that was so crazy fun. Billy Black, who is the greatest photographer, and that's the 349 right there. And that was like I told you, we were so ignorant. That was the first sail.
Wow. But hole number one.
Yeah. It just, and we did it with the 439 too. You'd think we'd learn, but we got boat of the year with both of them. So we're crossing our fingers at Annapolis. We're bringing out hole number one of a new model.
Well, here's the 439.
So pretty.
I know.
Love it.
Really. And I'm looking at all the features. I mean, look how perfect the Bimini and the Dodger, all that, so perfectly. It fits so perfectly.
Well, and we have so many amazing people who have helped us, like Neil Harvey. We've been so blessed with people, and it's just it's just been just perfect. God has given us every opportunity to be as good as we can be. So it's nice. And one of the big things is that we went from the cutter rig to the Solent rig.
Yes.
And a lot of people said in the past, oh, island packets are slow. And
Yeah. That is the reputation.
Yeah, but it's not the underbody. It wasn't the underbody that caused it. It's the rigging and, the sail plan, which it's fine. If you're gonna go all over the world, you want to cut a rig, right? If you're gonna go into crazy, weather and that kind of thing. But the Solent rig is so
let's show. Let me see if we can. Is this one of the boat? One of these have that?
Yes. Yeah.
Let's see if it. I know what you mean. It has two front sails right next to each other, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think these really show it.
Well, now it's kind of hard, but it's such a different performance. And again, I'll tell you the first, we took the boat out and it was the 349, the first boat, and the air was super light. And, it was Cruising World Boat of the Year. And we're like, oh my gosh, it's light air. This is terrible, But it actually worked out great because island packets were known for not doing well in light air.
And exceeded expectations.
Yeah, I won't talk about the boat that we were, because, they had many boats out there, doing Boat of the Year testing. And we beat some
pretty nice boats. Say them.
I'm not going to say the
How
name.
was it?
No, but we did it, and everyone was like, "What?" And
awesome.
If everyone go back and read the Cruising World Boat of the Year 349 when we got it, because
and that was what year? What year was that?
Oh God, don't pin me down. That.
Put you on the spot. 2019 or 18 or something.
No, 17, I think.
The year that you guys took over. Wow, that's pretty impressive, Leslie.
No, it wasn't 17. I'm sorry, it was 19. But
that was quick.
It was yeah, and it was so funny because it was the light air that got us Boat of the Year, because it was a different, nobody thought an island packet could perform in light air. So
nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not racing my boat, so it really doesn't matter to me. I have a cutter rig.
No one is. And
yeah, nobody is. It's just important for that particular situation.
Well, the thing is too that
I get asked that a lot. People when they're on my channel, I've had the channel since 2015. A lot of people ask me, is it really slow? Is it really this? And I'm like, it's kind of missing the point. Well, if you want to race, no, it's my first boat was a Catalina 25. Buy that boat if that's what you want. But if you want a comfortable, safe boat that you're going to go across water and be, that's a different conversation. So,
well,
my boat's gone fast too.
It is. And, it's a different iteration of, what do you want to, any boat that gets you on the water, right, is a good boat. But if you're looking for speed and the older boats are great and the newer boats are great. So it's just taking the great stuff from the past and trying to move it forward. So
this is kind of, we've already been talking about this. In what ways did you foresee that the updates, the enhancing would give overall appeal and market competitiveness of the Island Packet Yachts, which
Well,
it seems to have worked.
I think that's really easy because when we took over the company, like I said, our biggest competitor against a new Island Packet was the brokerage market, right? So we had to figure out, how do we make people want to buy a new one versus on the brokerage market. So what we've done, you can have a light maple boat. You can have a gray boat. You can have a white boat. You're not limited to just the Island Packet Ivory. You can do that. You can pick out your Corian. You can pick out, do you want a vessel sink? Do you, there's so many options. So now you can make your boat your way. Because if you're going to spend this much money on a new boat, hey, let's make it your boat. We're not going to obviously change the underbody or, and almost everyone is doing the Solent rig. But if you wanted a cutter rig, we'd do it still. No one's done that yet. But it's so customizable, but yeah, we keep, the stanchions are higher, the lifelines are thicker, all the hardcore safety issues are the same.
Nice.
But you can do, the sails. There's just so many options. Yeah, it's not the same boat, but it is.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, you can.
Okay, so we are. It's time for me to introduce tonight's sponsor, which is me. So I need to do that really quick. Okay. So my name is Tinsley Myrick. I'm with Remax of Orange Beach. In case you didn't know, I sell Gulfront condos and Gulfront homes and even non-waterfront homes in Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, Alabama, and Perdido Key, Florida. I am licensed in Florida. And also, if you want to know more, I also do, if you enjoy this podcast, I do another podcast on Thursday night with a colleague of mine called the Getting Beachy Podcast. It's a real estate lifestyle podcast about Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. It's a lot of fun. We have a good time there. And with that, thank you for letting me do that. And I mentioned to you also that I wanted to mention there is somebody, all these podcasts go on the audio podcast sites. So anywhere you get your podcast, your audio podcast. And there's somebody in Northumberland, England, that's doing a lot of downloading of these podcasts. And I just want to reach out to them, give them a shout out and say, hey, can you come on here sometime and tell us what you think? What's going on? Are you sailing any island packets in England? What's the deal? What are your hopes? What are your dreams? We'd love to hear about it. And with that, let's get back to you, Leslie. Thank you for letting me do that.
No, and it's fun. We have so many owners all over the globe. So that's
yeah, I'm getting a lot of traction on the audio podcasts. What I do when I get off here at night after the podcast, I'll download the audio version and upload it, and it goes out to 17 websites for audio podcasts, like even Spotify and Apple, all those. So you're going to be on all those, Leslie.
Yeah.
Anywhere you get your podcast. Right now we're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 social media profiles live. We got about 10 people watching, and it's a good time, right?
No, it's great. Thank you. I'm grateful. It's fun. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Well, no, you're awesome.
Thank you. So I remember I told you that when I was upgrading my IP320 when I bought it after I lost my boat in Hurricane Sally, which was September of 2020. And I bought a boat in Palmetto and took it up to Yacht Riggers up in St. Pete. And I call it boat prison. It was in boat prison for 2 months getting upgrades. And they are just top notch. I had them on 2 weeks ago.
I can't tell you, they're so great. And
they really are.
They do.
I've known them since they were small. Like it was just him and his dad and another guy.
Yeah.
And they worked on my IP27. That's how far back I go with them. And then my IP320, and they have a great electronics guy now. He kind of helped me upgrade and get.
Is it Kevin?
No, it's Andre.
Oh, okay.
Andre talked me into lithium batteries and upgrading my solar even more, and he told me, because I would come home, come back and work because it was very expensive. So I had to work and pay for it all. And he said the factory, some guys from the factory came over and saw how he was installing these lithium batteries. And I was thrilled with that. And it was 2020. So it was after you guys took over. And when I mentioned that to you, you said, that was you. So you guys must be doing lithium batteries.
Well, yeah, and I'm not going to speak to it with any expertise, but I'll tell you.
Right. No, that's okay. I can't either.
It's not the same. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, lithium, fire." These are
the Rolls Royce of lithium batteries. What I have. These are not the ones from China. This is not the ones from. It was relatively new when he put them in, and a lot of people going, "What are you doing?" He goes, "No, the technology was not the same even 18 months ago." Yeah. But, it had just become safe, and I trusted Andre what he was telling me.
For sure. No, you're exactly right, and I encourage people do your research because it's not the same.
These batteries are lithionics and they're made locally where you are.
Yeah.
Like they were made for, like, each one is handmade and he has to like wait for them to be made and everything. Well, handmade, I don't know if that's the right word. I guess it is.
different technology.
So you guys are doing that? You guys are.
Oh yeah.
You're doing. Yeah. So I chose to go with the two. For what I wanted to do, because they listened to me. What do you want to do? You're not just going to go out and come back in a few hours. No, I wanted if the world ended, I wanted to be able my boat to function.
That's kind of what most people want. They're like,
I basically said, let's do it. And so I was willing to spend the money. I figured later when I retire, I won't have the money. And so I put the lithium batteries, and this kind, the lithionics will fit in that area in an island packet. And that might have changed in the newer ones where it's a bigger area or something. I don't know. And I got 375 watts.
What's cool now in the new ones, it's not like you have to do a refit. Since you're doing everything at the factory, everything is we fit it.
Yeah, okay. You can make the whole fit whatever you want.
So we're not.
He didn't have to change anything. They actually fit in the existing hole. So
we make sure. Yeah, exactly. We, what do you want? How do you want it? And then
that is awesome. I actually took the tour.
Because
I think it was 2019 when I went to the Annapolis show, and I toured the 349 and I videoed it and I put it up on and I don't remember who it was that was there that gave me the tour, but he let me video the whole thing. And he told me all this. He was like, you want different wood? It may have been. And he's like, you want whatever wood you want in here? I was inside. He goes, whatever you want here, whatever you want here. And it was just like, wow, it was just amazing. And it was a beautiful boat.
And that's the thing so when we first started, and I don't want to get into too much detail, but we because we had been a dealer, so we had dealers, but then we pretty quickly, and this is nothing against any dealer, but no dealer can do anything better than we can do at the factory for a better price.
Okay.
And so we kind of felt like, yeah, we can tell us what you want to do. Let's do it. And even if you don't want to do it right now, we'll fit it for, what you might want to do in the future. So
Well, do you got your own folks that do the electronics and all that stuff? You have everybody, all the skills right there in the factory.
Well, yeah. There's nobody that can do it better.
Wow. Okay.
Period. So,
That's amazing.
Yeah. And even if, we have a buyer who says, okay, I don't know if I'm going to want this right now, but I might want this in the future. We can make sure that we set up the systems so that, you know what I mean? So they don't have to, we don't want people to have to go in and do stuff.
So where does if someone is watching and they say, I want to call the factory, I want to talk about ordering a boat. What's the process? I can go ahead and put up that boom. What do they have to do? Who do they talk to first?
You know what? Call Daryl.
Okay.
Call Daryl.
Daryl is her husband, co-owner. And that's the number right there.
He is the guy.
Okay, so they talk to him first.
Yeah.
And then what happens? What do they set up a time to meet or talk on the phone or?
So what happens is Daryl will say, okay, what boat are you looking at? Let's talk about it. And then Daryl will send them price sheets or whatever. And, he'll take it from there, depending on where someone's at,
Okay.
And then we
maybe you come up with kind of a roundabout price. And then, just like when you're buying a car, like if you're ordering a car, if you've ever ordered a car, here's the price. And then if you start adding all these things, this is going to.
Yeah. The thing that's different is that we appreciate, a lot of people say, oh my gosh, who buys your boats? Really, really crazy rich people. And
yeah.
And obviously it's people of, who have means.
Sure.
But
resources.
A lot of our buyers are people who are practical, pragmatic. They have wanted this plan for their life to go cruising, and they're smart. And so it's not, it's different than it's different than somebody who's just buying a fishing boat and there's nothing wrong with those people. I'm just saying we
planned for this.
Yeah.
This has been a dream.
Exactly. People who buy Island Packets, especially new ones, they know their stuff. And so that's why it's, humbling for Daryl and I to work with each person to say, what are you looking for? What do you want?
Okay.
So, and Daryl is amazingly, he's so good. Okay. And he's so knowledgeable. I always say Daryl knows more, or Daryl will forget more than I'll ever learn.
So I'm sure that you help somewhere in the process too.
I'm kind of good at helping people pick stuff out and,
Okay. That's cool.
And that kind of thing.
So the 485, I've interviewed a couple of people with the 485. So that one's out of production now. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. And I will tell you, we're working to create.
Is this breaking news?
Yeah.
You heard it here on the podcast.
Yeah, we're creating the next iteration of that. And we have someone who, so we're recreating that version, and we'll have the drawings coming out very shortly.
So, what do you have, like people on staff that like an architecture for boats, or is that, or you?
Yeah, so we have an architect, but we also we work with a lot of people, and we're very we're very progressive, and we're working a lot towards moving forward. And
you're trying to keep your words to a minimum. I can tell. I can respect that. I can respect that.
But
not going to get you to spill the tea here.
Well, it's
things are coming. Good news is coming.
Yeah, good stuff. But the one tea I want to spill is come to Annapolis in the fall, because we've got that.
Oh, okay. So something new is going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
It's a motor sailor. It's got a mast.
Oh yeah, that's right. You wanted to talk about that.
It's gonna sail well, like sail well.
So this boat, it could be marketed or is marketed to maybe the sailor that is getting up in age, or maybe has physical problems and doesn't want to give it up, and it's just going to be an easier.
Yeah, or maybe the wife wants more creature comforts.
Okay.
And a lot of
usually
people,
the wife, it is.
I know, but a lot of people want a stabilizer, right? In a power boat or whatever. But the stick allows, that's a big stabilizer. And I encourage everyone to look at the YouTube channel, but it's not the motor sailor that was done in the past with Island Packet.
It's not your grandfather's motor sailor.
Yeah, exactly. It's got an up galley. It's more the indoor outdoor experience. It is.
Oh, nice. So it's cool. It's like a trawler. It's very much like a trawler.
Yeah, it is very windows open. It's something that Daryl and I have talked about from day one, because no one's done this. No one's
pull it up.
Motor sailor. So yeah, it's got. I mean, it. Thank you, girl. That's perfect. But there, look at the YouTube video. We have a YouTube video where you can see where we're at on it. But it is, and it's not like it really does sail.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's not, but there's so many options in it gives that indoor outdoor experience, and
the rumors are true. Look at that.
Yeah, that was me. Thank you.
Okay.
Isn't that cool?
Drawings, you got the standard equipment list, you got all the info here on the website, but also look on you
guys, the YouTube video, Daryl did a YouTube video, and it really kind of shows where we're at. And the first one is going to Seattle. So, obviously we can't.
Exciting times. And it's got those hull side ports also.
Oh yeah. It's because, you've got stuff down below, but So the first one's going to Seattle, but the second boat show, Nicholas, boat of the year.
Okay. Here's a good question for you. What are the customizations or upgrades that have been most sought after by buyers? Like, what are the people like most happy? Like, oh my gosh, finally.
So I would say the ability to not have to have the Island Packet whole color.
Okay. All right.
You know, people love we do gray. People love that. People also love the no teak, no exterior teak at all. People like the option of either doing the sapelli wood or the light maple. And people also love that if we can reconfigure the interior, we will. Like you can do, say, if you're looking to port, you can do a full settee. You can do a settee, half settee with a table, like a mini table that will go down, and then you know.
That's what I was thinking about, redoing mine and making a little more usable space in there.
Yeah,
Putting a couple of recliner chairs up there and putting a table that'll fold a smaller table.
The captain's chairs.
Yeah.
People love that.
You've done those?
Oh yeah, you
oh
guys.
My gosh.
Oh my gosh! So you can do 2 captain's chairs to port, and then if you want then you'll just have the little table. And the thing is, we don't crazy upcharge you for that kind of stuff. Like if we can do it without too much work, it's not going to cost you much more money.
No, do you have on-site help, like, or even at the boat shows, or you got fast, quick financing options available?
We don't generally get involved in that at the boat shows, to be honest with you.
Do you have somebody close by that can kind of do the show with you, or?
We know people. Yeah. And so we'll just say, hey, and we'll refer you to people. And, we'll talk to you about that. Yeah. So, but again, going back to the options, it's pretty fun to, create your boat in a way you can.
That is, I love that the option with
more money. Like if you want a vessel sink. When we started doing vessel sinks, they were like, "You're crazy."
I'm not even sure what that is. A vessel sink. What is that?
So you've got the sink, and you can either do think about it in your head. You can do the insert stainless, right? And it's a vessel. It's like a
all
bowl.
one piece. It's one bowl instead of being split up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone's like, you guys are crazy, but we did.
Why is that crazy?
Well, because it was different. But
okay.
we didn't do it unless we could do it safely. So, and that's the other thing too. I want to say about all the sinks. Like in the galley, instead of the stainless, you can do all one Korean piece.
Ah.
So, and same in the heads. You can.
Now, who thought of all this stuff? Is the employees and you? Or is it you and some of the?
It's all me.
It's all you? You're so smart.
No, it's been it's really been a compilation of everyone, and it's just about listening and kind of just challenge.
Has anybody asked you like, I would like this, and you hadn't even thought of it, but you're like, yeah, we can do that all the time?
so many of our owners have been the one,
Okay.
they've been the impetus for change. And we're like, we can do that.
I want the captain's chairs. That's what I want.
Girl, you gotta see them. They're beautiful.
Yeah. I dreamed of that last summer. I was on the boat. I was like, you know what? This could be more comfortable and a little more usable because this big table, and I envisioned 2 captain's chairs, maybe with little trays that come out from the chair where I could just, like
exactly. But look at the videos.
Okay, I will.
Captain's chairs. And so if people do the 2 captain's chairs instead of the, fold down table that opens both sides, you don't need that. So you just get the single drop down.
I even thought of the tables that could slide out from up and over from each chair. Like they would go like on an airplane,
We've done that. So.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's see. I think you've answered this. How do you balance the traditional quality and craftsmanship for which Island Packets is known with these modernization efforts? You kind of answered that, don't you think?
Yeah, and I will give a lot of kudos to our team because
they give you pushback and say, "Whoa."
Well, kind of both,
Yeah.
It's harder for them.
Okay.
To be, we've all had to make some adjustments. So
I see.
No, it's not easy, but our team is so good, and they realize that we can't just keep status quo and think we're going to move forward. So they've been really, really very flexible. It's been hard for all of us, but.
Okay, so this is kind of along the same line. What measures are you taking to ensure that these changes align with the brand's legacy and reputation within the sailing community? So I hear that you are doing that.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'll add to it is that we're constantly, you can't be stuck in a certain thing. You know what I mean? Even if you think something works, which it does, you have to be open to new materials, new technology. And the fun thing that we've experienced is we have really great friends in the industry. And so it's hard. It's always a balance, but I think we've done a good job, and I think we'll continue to do a good job of, keeping up with technology, but staying true to our core values. And I think our biggest core value is safety. That's it. So everything we do is kind of surrounded by safety.
Okay. So you are communicating all these things to existing potential customers. I can see that. Looking ahead, what is your vision for Island Packet Yachts, and how do you see it evolving within the sailing industry?
I see us continuing to innovate. I see us continuing to be focused. And, a lot of people have said things like, oh, why don't you get into that? Or why don't you get into this, or, and I think
like what?
Just, well, when we bought the company, Seaward Yachts was so I think that we've learned that being focused is important, and not to.
Is that not part of the company anymore? Seaward Yachts?
No.
Okay, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, no. So I think that what we want to do is stay focused on what our brand is about, but growing it in terms of innovation, but not getting crazy. We know where our niche is, and we want to keep it there, and we want to stick to it, but we want to innovate. So I think that's what I see for us, just staying true to that.
What would Daryl say if he was? I know he's like hovering, right? And he's hovering around there.
He's like, no. I think he would say the same
What would
thing.
he say?
I think he would say, we want to stay true to our values, and we want to innovate. Because you can't be stuck, but you can't get too broad in what you're trying to do. So I think he would agree with me. Know your market.
Right.
Keep it focused. And just
give the people what they want too.
Yeah, no.
What you're doing.
Well, and you're exactly right. That's what innovation is.
Yeah.
It's listening. And I think that's one of the reasons Daryl and I have been successful, is that we go to all the boat shows, and there's all, we listen, we talk to people like you know what I mean? We talk to owners and that kind of thing. So, and we can always do better. And we can always encourage our team. And we had a team meeting yesterday, and if our employees, our current owners, our potential owners, if we listen and then we innovate from there, it's going to be good.
Well, it says a lot. That, I guess the word on the street was, hey, new owners, and we like them. You need come get your job back.
Yeah, exactly. That was pretty humbling.
So. So you were just minding your own business, and people started contacting you.
Yeah. And it is a bit of a double-edged sword. Because
this is how we've done it for years.
Yeah, exactly. But no, we had that team meeting yesterday, and it's I think we're creating an environment where people can talk.
That's nice.
So it's not perfect.
So now you said you want to learn to be a better sailor. Yes. What are you going to do about that? I'm going to put you on the spot here. You're going to make time. You've got all these women. You got Melanie. You got all these women that you said are great sailors that you can go out with.
I'm going to try
for the day. Even for the day.
I need to do it. Because honestly, I'll tell you, that's one of my. I'm so ashamed. I'm a sailor.
Oh, come on. You've got so much knowledge.
I've got all these Island Packet sailor girls or women who are just badasses, and I'm kind of like, I'm so intimidated. But I think that it's good in some ways that, I'd like to encourage women like me to, to admit it, to say, yeah, not the greatest sailor. Help.
Well, there, I used to go on Women Who Sail Facebook page years ago, And I really liked it that women felt comfortable to come on there and say things like, I just pulled the boat out from the slip for the first time by myself. And everybody's like, yay. And
Yay!
I think that I remember the first time I did that. It's been
Yeah.
number of years, not that long ago. I mean, I wasn't a boat owner until late 2015. I mean, it was a Catalina 25. You just have to go out there without the man.
I know. I so agree. And thank
Because
you
it's a
for
whole thought process. Yeah, because like if I have to leave, every time is different. The conditions are different every time, and
yeah.
I go over it in my brain. Like if it's a difficult situation, I just sit there and think, how am I going to do this? The wind's coming from that direction, the water's coming from this
Right.
direction. What am I going to do? And I picture it in my mind. And if somebody's there chatting at me or doubting me, it's not gonna go as well, especially in the beginning. Like,
Right.
now I can tune him out. Salty Scotty, I can tune him out. But he's a lot more trusting of me now. I mean, he's never taken the boat out of the slip. It's my boat, and I've
I know
done it
you
every
told me that. I love that story. And
and he
I'm
never asked to either.
well, see, and this is it's embarrassing for me. Everyone's like, "Oh, you own Island Packet Yachts. You
You
must
just
be,"
have to do it.
and
You
you
just
know,
have to do it.
but it's freeing to just be honest and say,
Absolutely. Yeah.
"I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, help."
I mean, you've heard the stories
Yeah,
so many times of people that are from Michigan and they only sailed on lakes, and they buy a sailboat over, the online, and they have it surveyed online. And they don't see it until they come down there. They've never sailed on an ocean or the Gulf or anything. And they set off and they leave for the Bahamas. People do it all the time.
I
What's the
know.
worst that can happen? You have a factory that can fix anything.
Yeah,
Right.
no, I know, and it's something that's important to me to work on towards the future. Like, I
Yeah.
really want to get more street cred.
All the people on here can hold you accountable, the people that know you.
Right.
Or if there's somebody on here that's gonna buy a boat, they can go, "Yeah, look, we wanna buy a boat. Here's what we want. And, oh, by the way, Leslie, have you pulled the boat out from" You just
I
need
mean,
to do it.
I can hold my own, but I can do so much better, and I'm excited to learn more. So,
I think you and Melanie should take one of the boats, go down to Pelican
yeah.
Bay, and anchor out over the weekend at
Okay.
Pelican Bay. Have you ever been to Pelican Bay? It's the best place to anchor. It
Well,
is. I
everyone
love it.
thinks that Daryl and I have this crazy fun life of sailing.
You
Yeah,
need to make time.
we
I'm
work,
just I'm
we
just
work,
saying.
we work. I know,
Yeah, I'm
from
just
your
saying.
mouth to God's ears. Yeah.
All right. Well, we've been on here for just over an hour. This has been great. I sure do appreciate it. And we'll
Yeah.
have to do it again when you're ready to really spill some tea about what's the new thing. I want you to come back. I don't want this to be the last time. Please promise me.
No, I love it.
Okay. You did
Thanks
great. This was
everyone for
wonderful.
listening to me.
You gave us so much good information. So I know a lot of people
You.
there's some people listen, but there'll be more people in the replay on the different platforms. And so a lot of people will find this extremely helpful.
Well,
So
thank you.
and I'll be coming down there soon. And I'll come by, and I've never been able to tour. I came by there one time and I didn't announce it, and they wouldn't let me in.
Well,
I didn't. Who did I think I was? It might have been before you
now
came. I'm sure
you're
it
like,
was. But
but that
we'll
is a different time. Now it's like anybody who wants to come, just try to give us, like, anyone who's listening or watching, just give us some heads up, and
absolutely. I should have.
we'll love showing you around. But you,
Of
Captain
course.
Tinsley,
The salty podcast gal, the salty abandon gal. Okay, so with that, this is the way I like to end it, is saying salty abandon out.